cheaper than our producer's underage sister, edgier than the stuff shown on late night television, newer than Kim Kardashian's ex. Live from Orlando, it's Crazy Train Radio.
Hey, this is Dory Funk. Stay tuned and listen to Crazy Train Radio for all the superstars in professional wrestling.
Yeah, walking on the fighting side of me, running down the wheel line, fighting and hard to die to keep. If you don't love it, leave it.
You got the Croc and you got Jake Steele, that bum, on the line right now with a true legend in professional wrestling.
One of the greatest tag team competitors to ever grace this business.
Mostly known for his single compete, no Jake. Dory Funk Jr. Dory, what's going on?
Hey, it's terrific to be on your show, and I just want to welcome all the fans out there and thank them for their support for so many years in professional wrestling, and looking forward to the interview.
Well, we appreciate you taking a few minutes out, Dory, yourself. First on, let's jump in, because I know Jake will have some interesting questions on this as well. First of all, what can you tell us about your school down in Ocala, Florida?
We just are so proud of our kids down here. We work very hard. We've got some wonderful athletes that are in our training camp, and some of them include Quentin Dropback Hitchcock. He's an outstanding athlete. We've got a lady that's just outstanding herself, Hollywood Heather. Brian Hotshot Davis, the Road, Ryan Passmore. Oh, and another girl that we've got that I would never want to leave out, that's Jessica Powerhouse Hill. She does a great job, and she is, as her name indicates, she is a powerhouse. We've got wrestlers from all around the world. We've got Ron the Man Reimer is here from Germany. Bulldog Bryson Michaels, TJ Blake. We've got a fabulous crew, and we work very hard, and we've got a show coming up here in Ocala, Florida, Saturday, March 23rd. Support Your Troops 89. The name of the show is Bangamania.
For more details on the show, they can check out doryfunk.com. But with the
complete card is on the website, and that's at dory-funk.com.
Beautiful, folks. Check out for the show. But another thing I'd like to know about the Funky Conservatory there is, there's tons and tons of schools across the country. What makes yours different compared to some of the other schools across the country?
Dory Funk Jr.
That's real simple.
Yep. Well, here's the question you want to ask when you're thinking about a school. The teacher, what are his qualifications? And what buildings did he sell out for what promotions? Where did he wrestle? How many? What kind of a box office attraction was he? And I think there's so much in credibility behind our school, the Funky Conservatory. I think it's the very best place to come to learn the wrestling business. And there's another thing. No one should think that they can go before WWE or TNA or one of the Japanese companies without training. In the words of my good friend Rob Van Dam, you must have training before you go for a tryout. And we do the best job. We take care of our athletes. Not only do we have an extensive television training program, but we also have a fabulous safety record for all the kids that have come through. And we also have a fabulous record of wrestlers who have made it in the big time after training with myself, Dory Funk Jr., and that includes Kurt Angle, Mark Henry, the Hardy Boys, Edge, Christian, Ken Sai, and the list goes on and on. We've had some great athletes come through our training system, and they've gone on to do a terrific job for the major companies.
Well, would some of the students, like say a Kurt Angle or somebody like that, who was a highly qualified athlete coming in, do you notice that they're easier to work with if they're a fine-tooth athlete to work with beforehand?
Well, we work with them anyway. Now, in contrast to Kurt Angle, the Hardy Boys came in, and they were absolute daredevils. They were from either end of the ring, from the top rope, over the top, out of the ring. They were virtually hanging from the rafters. But what the real value that they got from training with us at the Funkin' Dojo was the wrestling basics. And those are the things that you must have if you're going to go for a tryout with a major company.
Yes, you need the fundamentals.
What was that, Jake?
You need the fundamentals in order to achieve anywhere in any company.
It's the same in any sport. You've got to start with the fundamentals. It's so hard to sometimes make people understand that. But these companies are looking for people that understand and know the basics of professional wrestling. And they're looking for people who can do something for the company. In other words, put people in the building, draw high ratings on television, or sell products in the wrestling market. And we develop that kind of character for the major companies.
Well, make sure you check out about the school at dory-funk.com. Dory, if we can for a few minutes, we'd like actually want to talk to you about your career itself, if we can.
Oh, terrific! Love it.
Oh, great. Well, first thing I'm curious.
Not so much because I'm self-centered, but I had the opportunity to pass through the wrestling business, working with some fabulous promoters and some fabulous wrestlers, and I learned every place I went.
Well, that's one of the things I want to start out with. But you had a little bit of a different hoe compared to or road than most, because you actually come from a wrestling family. Did that help or hurt you, do you think?
Oh, it definitely helped. My father was a very well-known professional wrestler and wrestling promoter, and he virtually guided me into the wrestling business. And it was done in a wonderful way. He let me know what the business was about. He let me know how difficult it was, and let me know how good it could be. I told him I wanted to become a professional wrestler, and he said, well, you can do it, and along with doing it, you can have a very healthy body and a good life if you do it the proper way. And things have worked out fabulous. I've had so many opportunities to meet so many people and learn so much about the wrestling business on both ends, on the promotion end, on the wrestling side, and on the teaching side. I first started training wrestlers, I guess maybe DiBiase, Bob Backlund, Jumbo Tsuruta over in Japan were the first. And it became something that I loved. And there's no thrill like seeing a wrestler that you've trained go on and have success in the wrestling business.
Well, obviously your biggest highlight, I would assume, other than the Hall of Fame, would be carrying the NWA title for 4 years. How hard of a road was that?
It was a fabulous trip. During the NWA World Heavyweight Championship for 4.5 years, I had the opportunity to travel around the world throughout all of the many NWA territories, and there were 30 at the time, worked for all the promotions, and worked with all of the very top wrestlers in each promotion. And it was a fabulous learning experience, but it was a lot of fun too. There's nothing more enjoyable than being in the ring, working for a sold-out Coliseum, and entertaining the wrestling fans. It's the biggest high. That's the fun part. The hard part is getting there. The hard part is going through the training. The hard part is learning the business. The hard part is getting the bookings, being hired by a major company. But the absolute pleasure of the wrestling business is the performance in the ring in front of the wrestling fans and knowing that it's appreciated.
Well, what about the travel, especially as the NWA champ at the time? Would you say that was pretty difficult?
What was that?
The travel.
Travel was first class, transportation paid, and there was nothing like it. I traveled crisscross the country weekly, wrestling every different territory. It was all first class, and it was all paid for by the National Wrestling Alliance promoters. I'm very appreciative of that. It was a fabulous trip through the business. First class hotels, first class transportation from the airport to the buildings. In-flight first class was fabulous. I had to be careful about sometimes they served alcohol on the planes, and instead of drinking it, I took it with me and saved it, kept it in my closet at home.
Jake, you had a question there, you said?
Yeah, now, Dory, about the NWA, what do you think about the current state of the National Wrestling Alliance? Do you feel that it's gotten stronger or still maintained the same as how it was compared to 20 years ago?
I think a lot of people are working very hard on the status of the National Wrestling Alliance, but in all honesty, it is, at the time I was NWA champion, there was nothing like the National Wrestling Alliance, nothing in wrestling more powerful, nothing in wrestling with more prestige. The National Wrestling Alliance was the premier organization in wrestling at the time.
Now, what about your take on tag team wrestling today?
It'd be like, say that again?
Now, what is your take on tag team wrestling today? I mean, if you notice in most of the companies, their champions are held by two singles competitors.
I think this is speaking of the wrestling business today as a whole. I think the athletes do a fabulous job. They've got to be in fabulous condition. It's different than it was during what I call the golden days of professional wrestling, because they were really fabulous times.
Right.
But television has a bigger influence on the wrestling business now, even though it had a huge influence back then. It's different with centralized television, national television, as opposed to territorial television shows. So our wrestling business is much more centralized. It's much more expensive to produce, and the television time is critical. In the present day, athletes have to learn to work with television because it's the thing that makes the machine go, and it's changed the business, but still we've got fabulous athletes in the business right now. People like Triple H, Undertaker, Rock, Kurt Angle, the Hardy Brothers, Tensai, the new crew from NXT, which I was fortunate to have a chance to train with. I think they all do a terrific job. Mark Henry is one of my kids, one of my students. He's going to be headlining WrestleMania. Edge is another one of my students who's in the WWE Hall of Fame. Like I said before, it's a real thrill to be able to watch people that you've trained with and helped in their career come along and really do well.
Well, last question for you. You brought it up there in that last answer there with Jake's question, with TV dominate and everything. When you were champ in this golden era that you mentioned, do you think it was easier for somebody to go and really learn their craft going territory to territory before they made it to New York or the NWA or to the major leagues of wrestling?
Do I think they need what?
Do you think it was easier to go for somebody to go territory to territory to learn their craft then when they made it to hotbed?
No,
they knew what they were doing.
Easy. No, it wasn't easier, but there were so many more positions open. Right now, there are a couple places in the United States that you can earn a living and work and do well. Also, there's Japan. But during the days of the National Wrestling Alliance, there were 30 territories, each with a promoter who was a millionaire, each with a whole crew of wrestlers that earned a very good living for their families. Each territory supported 30 to 40 wrestlers. There wasn't a city in the United States of America, over 20,000 people, that didn't have regularly scheduled wrestling matches. It was much more spread out, but that's because of regional television. And that's what changed the business. The business is no longer regional television, it's national television and international television. Now it's worldwide television. In fact, it's the whole universe. The WWE universe, for that matter.
That's true. But as you said, can you give us the details one more time for your show on Bang TV?
Oh, our show is coming up Saturday, March 23rd. And that's Bangomania. It's coming to you from the Funky Conservatory Bang Television Studio. And featured on the card, 4 ladies fighting for the Tag Team Championship. For the women's, for the women's championship. It's a fatal 4-way. And it's going to feature Mickie James, Hollywood Heather, Jessica Powerhouse Hill, and Claudia the Claw Reef. It's going to be a fabulous night for professional wrestling. Johnny Magnum will be there. Hotshot Davis, The Rogue, Ryan Passmore, Ron the Man Reimer, Quentin Dropback Hitchcock, TJ Blake, Bulldog Bryson Michaels. It's a fabulous crew, and they will bust their tail for the fans.
And if I hear that correctly in the background, don't forget the lovely, fabulous Marty, who's helping run in production for the Funky Story.
Okay. Yes, don't forget, Marty Funk will be leading our production team, as she always does, and she does a fabulous job, and she is the boss. She will call the shots.
Well, we love Marty. We've been talking to Marty to set this up, that's for sure. Wonderful woman, that's for sure.
All right, terrific, yes. I love her very much, and she does a great job, and it really is a thrill to be able to work together in the wrestling business.
So, Dory-Funk.com, Bangomania coming up on March 23rd. Go to the website, get your tickets, check it out. Dory, thank you so much for taking a few minutes.
Thank you, guys. Enjoyed it very much.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dory. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Dory, you still there?
Yes.
Can we get you to maybe do an ID real quick, saying, hey, this is Dory Funk Jr., you're listening to Crazy Train Radio?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Whenever
you're ready.
Hey, this is Dory Funk. Stay tuned and listen to Crazy Train Radio for all the superstars of professional wrestling.
Dory, thank you so much. Let Marty know if she's got any more shows besides Bang-A-Mania she wants to promote. Get a hold of us. She has our info.
Okay. We will stay in touch with you guys. When do you expect that this will be up, and I'll link into it?
We should have this up tonight, so I will send Marty the link, and we'll go from there.
Okay, great. Send us a link, and we'll pass it around.
Thanks a lot, Dory. Talk to you soon. Be well.
Thank you.